Wait, how long does CP2 is going to be? 30 minutes? We got time. Spectating a game.
I like that. Who's on your team? Player / ELO. Michael Jordan / 3500. That's some tall ELO.
Spectate game, goddammit. SandaraBunny.
Starting StayBrutal playing Blitzcrank. Yay. Right team comp-wise seems a little disappointing just because the Gragas Amumu combo is a little bit of a letdown.
Yeah, but it's gonna get him free barrels and a free ultimate. It'll give him like a guaranteed ultimate to split the team up perfectly after they're clumped together.
That is true. Amumu can hold them in place so that they can do a little bit of work, and then Gragas with the exploding cask to actually split them up and dominate the fight the way they want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is going to be necessary.
Or just
with
go
the
directly in on the carries.
Yeah.
At that point. And just like, oh boy, free ult on the carries. We won't even have to worry about the tanks.
Blue
Just
team
kill them.
is incredibly mobile, even more mobile than purple team. They've got a gajillion dashes and blinks. Lulu's move speed buff. Mundo doing his thing.
Mundo going where he pleases at all times. And the safeguard. Safeguard OP?
Yeah, and they've both got a decent amount of poke between Corki rockets and Gragas barrels, and then Lee Sin's Qs, Ahri's crazy stuff.
Perception.
Yeah, they've got more poke on the blue team.
Yeah, the glitter lance. Yeah, blue team definitely has a little bit more. I'm not sure about the damage wise. I mean, cleavers are nice, but they do magic damage, and typically Mundos don't run magic pen anymore like they used to.
Yeah, one of the scary things though is that if they can connect with a cleaver or a glitter lance, that could set up very nicely for an Ahri taunt if that person isn't hugging their creeps extremely well.
Exactly.
And in lane, the Ezreal Lulu combo, extremely pokey, extremely mobile. If Corki Blitz gets the hit on them, they'll probably be able to burst them down.
Probably.
But that's going to be contingent on them actually landing grabs. So bottom lane is going to be a skill lane. Corki wisely taking cleanse.
Yes, Corki definitely needs cleanse for all the CC that they have. I mean, they don't have a ton, but that charm is just going to absolutely wreck him because they have a lot of poke and a lot of burst. So if they can close any form of gap with that charm and the cleaver and 2 exhausts, those 2 exhausts are really going to hurt too, as well as the 3 ignites.
Yeah,
that's
I'm a little surprised.
Lot.
I'm a little surprised Ezreal isn't running a heal or something, just because they've got enough ignite and enough damage on their team that I feel like he might want to include some survivability in case he does manage to get caught. But then again, if you get pulled by Blitzcrank into a team that looks like that, I don't know if heal's going to do a lot for you.
Yeah, I mean they have Gangplank. Does he still have the healing reduction on him? On his auto attacks?
You know, I can't remember. I know there's a slow and a dot. I don't recall if it's healing reduction.
I don't think it is healing reduction anymore. But they do have 2 ignites, and that's really going to prevent it anyway.
Yeah, it's a good choice.
But neither team actually has a healer, quote unquote, except for Gragas and Mundo.
Healing themselves.
Is that really I guess Ahri has some too.
Yeah, she has sustain. Lee Sin has sustain. Lulu. Well, her ultimate is a heal in a manner of speaking.
True.
You can't reduce it with Ignite because it's just a flat addition to your actual health.
Yeah, and it stays there until it goes down, of course.
So with all those Ignites on the other team, and all the CCs that are going to be terrifying for Corki to get picked off with, running Cleanse, the combo of Cleanse, Valkyrie, and Flash, if anyone catches up to him...
It's a positioning error, for sure.
Just major props to them, and shame on Corki for letting it happen.
Yeah. And shame on the rest of the team. Look at how much he has to protect him.
Yeah.
Gangplank slow, Mumu's bandage toss, Gragas' body slam with his ult, Blitzcrank's pop up with his silence. It's going to be really hard to initiate on the Corki.
Hey, I'm a little worried for Gangplank since going into the middle of that top team is gonna be a bit of a nightmare for him. But
he's got oranges. It's K.
Yeah.
It's K.
I was actually very silly for worrying. He has the power of citrus on his side. So.
Saved by the buoyancy of citrus.
So we've got boots, we have potions and boots. A little bit of mix-up coming from Corki. Blitz with the Fairy Charm. The good spread of wards. He doesn't want to lose bush control, which is why he's clearly opting for a pink ward in this case rather than just a huge stack of green wards. And Lulu's going boots and wards. No pots for her. She's going to rely extremely on her own ballsiness and skill.
Yeah, which is really interesting actually, since she only got 2 sight wards.
I don't know if there's any combination of runes and masteries that'll let you start with boots and 3 sight wards.
Yeah, actually, no, I don't think so either.
That would be pretty
but
nuts.
with Blitzcrank taking that vision ward, that's going to be huge because that's going to provide them with that free ward in this bottom brush. So the opponent's bottom brush is one of the most important wards. That and tri-brush are the 2 most important for sure that you want to have.
And that's a big hit to Lulu as well, because she's sacrificing any form of sustain in favor of that second ward. And if Blitz knows where it goes, she's going to lose it. We have a huge engage coming down. They just face their
great
into each
charm
other.
coming in.
Charm comes in, hits Gragas. They're split up. Lee Sin's almost completely dropped to the other team right now. Amumu is in the middle. Gragas with the ninja. That ninja going through with the body slam. Blitzcrank, though, is right in the middle. He manages to pick up Lulu, and he's going to walk away. Ezreal's going straight in, but he is right next to all of them. Is he going to go down as well? Corki, one more auto attack. Corki has 1 kill and 2 assists. 3 assists for Gangplank. Gragas, the fattest ninja that Summoner's Rift has ever seen, with a clutch body slam to pick up the low health Lee Sin.
That body slam. I can't believe he did that. He risked it and he got away with it.
Yeah, no one was there.
The
they were completely paying attention to
Yeah,
that
I thought
fight.
like once he was going to go around this corner, he was going to get aggroed by the tower, because that's what usually happens.
He's extremely big too, but it was not to be.
I guess not. It was pretty interesting, but a 0 for 3 exchange coming out for the red team, that's going to give them a huge lead. They almost doubled the gold of the blue team already. And
just off the start.
Yeah, and that's really significant. I mean, even though it's just like 1,500 gold, it doesn't sound like a lot, but when it's this early on in the game, it's only been 2 minutes and 30 seconds, it is a lot more significant than you think.
Yeah,
I mean, the later on the game goes, it becomes less and less significant, but if they can snowball off those early 3 kills, that's going to be absolutely huge.
We take a look in top lane, we have Lee Sin and Gangplank fighting. It's impressive that Lee Sin managed to get the early level 2 onto Gangplank. He's not going to go too crazy. I'm pretty sure Lee Sin's Ignite is down. He's just going to settle for the advantage. Gragas going in onto Ahri. Now, I don't know if that's wise, because all he has is Body Slam, and he's level 2, and there's... Ahri is level 2. Gragas is level 1. My bad.
Ahri's a tranny. It's okay.
What is under that dress? Better not to ask. So,
9 tails. That's
so
what's under the dress.
You know, at this point, like you said, this advantage is important, but what's the slight downside is that red team wasn't in lane to pick up their level 2s, and they were a little too cocky from having those advantages. So they decided to go in. Meanwhile, Amumu is looping around. Is he going to get the stun? He gets point blank. Ignite comes down from Gragas, and he goes for the toss, but just barely whips due to the flash.
And it was a perfect flash, because it wasn't a straight flash. It was like kind of straight into the side, just enough.
Yeah, enough combination of the juke. Amumu is not going to be able to get his red, because Mundo actually counter-jungled it. We have Mundo coming up from the counter game, but it's not going to matter. Ahri gets a little too crazy in light of that very recent gank attempt, and she ends up eating another one. So that's down for her.
Yeah, I think that Ahri's thought process was that she saw Amumu go down into their jungle, and so they knew it was happening, and so she probably thought that he was going to run into Mundo, but after Mundo looped around, I think he might have been trying to avoid Amumu for whatever reason. I think he would have been able to easily duel Amumu one-on-one.
Right now we have top lane. We have Amumu going in onto Lee Sin. Is Lee Sin going to be able to get Gangplank down? He's taking the damage from Amumu. I don't know if anybody is going to die from this. It's going to be contingent on whether there's another bandage toss coming out, but Lee Sin is getting away. He's juking, and he manages to juke it out. It looks like he's going to deal all the DPS he needs. Will Gangplank get a bullet? He doesn't get there in time. He did not believe he was needed. He didn't want to risk getting hit, and he ended up paying for it. He didn't get the kill, and now Gangplank is 8 health.
I need to back up to see what happens.
Alright, it looks like Gragas...
In the meantime.
Gragas, right now, he's not at very high health, and Ahri is coming in completely fresh.
And he just doesn't flash over.
I'm not 100% sure why Gragas thought he had the damage and the health to survive through that. So,
yeah, I don't know what that decision was. It wasn't a good one, that's for sure.
Yeah, so right there we have Red Team getting a huge early lead with those first 3 kills in that fight, and then getting a little too ballsy in light of that, even though they missed out on some time in lane as a result, which in turn led to a reverse swing, and now they're only a few hundred gold behind.
And that Ignite is definitely going to force Corki to have to go back. He's at 99 health. He doesn't have any more health potions. He did have that Doran's Blade to really help with the early game, but it doesn't seem to be helping as much as he thought.
We take a look at the CS. Yeah, Ezreal is 30 to Corki's 31, and Corki's going to lose time in lane. That'll let Ezreal pick it back up, and Corki won't be able to make it back on the creeps because they're about to seppuku onto the tower.
Exactly. Not the words I was looking for, but yes, exactly. It was interesting also that it looks like Blue Team is being really, really aggressive, so it seems like they're just either not intimidated by the Blitzcrank Corki burst, which I would be surprised at, but then again, the Arcane Shift has a really weird mechanic with the Blitz grab. Oh, it actually looks like Amumu is coming down for a gank.
Is he going to be able to get it? Ezreal does not have nearly enough mana to get out of that, and now he's going to keep going. He's going to go for his hits. It's going to reduce their magic reduction a bit. Can Blitz do anything? No, he can't. Amumu takes a lot of damage for no apparent reason. No cooldowns were up to pick up the Lulu. She's just going to go back so that she can return to lane at the same time as Corki.
And pick up some wards to help with that gank in the future for sure. And that was a really interesting. I don't know why Amumu. I think he assumed that Blitz had his grab up, but the Blitz used his grab on the really low life Ezreal. Not because Ezreal is a low life.
He might have been afraid that Ezreal had enough mana to Arcane Shift. He wanted to hit him with the grab and cancel it out after the Amumu stun. That's a possibility. Meanwhile, Ahri and Mundo are looping up through the jungle. Gangplank does not have enough citrus to survive a chain of CCs from this entire group. Does he have his splash up? He doesn't have his splash up. He is going to get hit with the charm. He is going to die, and the kill is going to go to Mundo.
I don't think that's a very good job by Mundo picking up the kill. Typically, junglers really want to give their kills to the lane that they're ganking for to give them an advantage. Usually when they're ganking for a lane, it's not because they're winning, it's because they need help or something. Gragas might go for this.
Try and get the barrel steal. No, it gets pulled away. He doesn't time it quite properly. So yeah, we see that the kills, they're still not even, but they swung back. They're completely and totally into this game.
Yeah, they're only about 600 gold behind, which is, less than a dragon or less than a tower, and it's really not going to be a difference. But
Mundo, from counter jungling the red at the start, knows the timer. It looks like Amumu did not expect to catch a wild Lee Sin from the brush, but Gragas is coming in too. Lee Sin is going balls deep. He's trying to pick up the Amumu, the Ignite. Doesn't quite take down. He gets the hit. He safeguards to Mundo over the wall, but he gets hit by the body slam. He's going to get picked up, but Ahri's looping around from behind. She hits the taunt onto Gragas. She's overthrowing him, ignoring Gangplank. Gangplank's going to try and pick up Mundo. If he can get another shot off, that's a dead purple man. And Ahri cannot quite chase him down.
They have a ward here, so they know exactly where he went.
That's a straight 2-for-2 exchange. I don't know
if Ahri's going to... No, Ahri's
she isn't going to chase it.
It's not worth it. They might as well just farm.
Yeah, she's going to pick up the creep kills to push Gragas even farther behind.
Exactly, and that is the proper move. That's exactly what she wants to do. She wants to shut him down as much as possible. He was able to pick up the kill, but that's... it's still 2-2 as far as kills, but Ahri's significantly ahead in creep kills already. She's almost 20 ahead, which is a lot this early in the game at 9 minutes.
If you do the math on that, averaging 20 gold per creep kill, per lane creep kill, 20 creeps ahead is the same as having a first blood up on the other person. Yeah, so right now, Gragas is definitely behind.
Even though he got first blood, and that's the only reason he's really still in that mid lane.
Bottom lane, we're getting some action. I don't think Blitz managed to connect his pull, so their effective burst is severely diminished. Gragas comes down, hits an exploding path, but gets Ezreal Arcane Shift, but he gets wandered right back into the grab. It's chain CC'd, and the kill goes to Blitzcrank, which, again, not as optimal as you would like, but a dead Ezreal's a dead Ezreal. Meanwhile, we have action going on top. Amumu and Gangplank are behind him. The clutch safeguard from Lee Sin, manages to avoid Amumu's ultimate. You know Amumu was kicking himself for that one. Meanwhile, Ahri's in blue jungle. She's looking to counter-attack on Gragas. She knows he's going for his blue because they have the ward.
So much going on.
What is she going to do? She doesn't quite pick it up, but she has enough damage that she's just gonna... It looks like she's just gonna refresh her buff off of the dead Fat Man. Top lane, we have 4 fighting? Amumu just camped it out. Lee Sin got too cocky. He managed. He does not quite hit the resonating strike onto the creep for a free escape. But because there's so much action going up top, blue team is going to try and go for a dragon. Mundo is very low. Lulu, with the bodyguard, manages to block the grapple. Blitzcrank is right in the middle of all of them. He wants that Mundo dead. That Mundo doesn't have a flash, but he sits in the back of the dragon pit long enough to avoid getting killed. Blitzcrank kamikazing in there.
Yeah, and that was a great play by the blue team, being able to notice that their jungle's up top. So once their jungle's top, they know they have no risk of it being smite stolen. So them just taking the dragon instantly, like, hey, we need to do dragon, jungler's top. Lee Sin's, completely just toying with them. He was able to survive for so long, just wasting the jungler's time, making it work way too hard for that one kill. They finally did pick it up, but I don't know if it was worth that much effort put into it, especially losing the dragon for a kill. And they didn't even take the top tower out of it. They didn't even take it down to half or anything. So I really don't think that was very well thought out by the red team. Especially at 11 or 12 minutes, that's when the first dragon usually goes down. So you want to have your jungler around that bottom lane just to be there for prevent.
Gangplank coming in from the river to start attacking Lee Sin. Lee Sin goes on to him, not realizing that Amumu is creeping through the lane, but Lee Sin's mobility is enough to just get away from almost any gank as long as he's got things to tether to. Amumu with the bandage cross. Mundo coming up from the river. They're going to hit him with the cleaver. They're going to hit him with the cripple. The ignite is down from Lee Sin. He can hit the resonating strike, and he does. Are they going to go in on it? No, they are not, but Ahri is moving up through the jungle. She's pinged, so Gangplank is smart enough to go back, but Gragas goes chasing her in. It's one of the downsides of chasing mid to counter gank is that if they camp out in the brush and they have good CC, she is actually going for it! She spear dashes all the way through, trying to pick up that last kill. Gragas hits her with a barrel. If bottom lane is aware, they will be able to loop back up and collect the kill on her. Gangplank is chasing after her through the jungle,
it for sure.
And he is going to find her. He hits her with the gun, he stabs her, and she goes down.
She almost got away with it if it wasn't for the pirates.
If it weren't for those meddling pirates. Meanwhile,
she actually almost killed him, but he threw out his oranges, so it's okay.
It was 100% okay.
That was just an overall wonderful play. Ahri took the risk, and she really wanted that kill onto the Gragas to shut him down even more. It was probably, well, in the end, of course, it wasn't worth it, but it was worth the chance. I think she just started her ultimate a little bit too late. She should have known that he had his explosive cask, and so she should have used her ult to dodge the cask. Or the whole time she was throwing out skill shots, so that there's nothing that he could have done or been able to predict where she was going.
Yeah, and maybe even with a properly timed Spirit Dash, get explosive cast into him for even more positioning advantage.
Exactly. And I think that would have been a little bit better of a play on Ahri's part. She would have been able to get the kill and went back to lane.
Alright, right now we've got Gragas moving down through the jungle, coming through Tribus. There's already a ton of damage going on to Ezreal. The Lulu ult is burned. He hits the explosive cast, pushing Ezreal closer to the team. They're not quite able to get them for it, but we know that blue team's ults and some of their summoners are now down, so they're not going to be able to. Let's get the excellent grab onto Lulu. She gets blown up. The creeps are on the tower. I think that's going to be a dead tower. Mundo's coming down. Ahri's coming down, but they're not going to be able to get there in time. Mundo gives up on that poor tower. The no tower left behind act is not in effect.
It hasn't been past their Congress yet.
It has not. It got filibustered to death by Congressman Gragas. He got extremely drunk at the congressional hearing, and he just talked and talked and talked.
This is the worst joke ever.
It is the best joke. I appreciate if you shut your mouth. So we have Ahri coming up through the jungle. There is no ward coverage there for Gangplank. I think he suspects something's up. because
Definitely, because Ahri's not in mid. She pushed it up to the front lines, and then that's when you typically know, especially Ahri, since she's such a heavy ganker, she can gank really easily. Once she pushes with full health and then goes Mia, you know she's not recalling.
Yeah.
She had blue buff, so you knew she had full mana, full health. You knew she wasn't going to go down. And now Gragas might have, I think he definitely sprouted out Ahri in that particular case. So Gangplank's going to be okay for a little bit.
There's also the fact that he seems to be... Is he behind with regards to... He actually has a bit more money than Lee Sin.
Yeah,
but we're not...
gold,
but it's hard to say how the effects of Lee Sin's skill set are going to affect them if they're that close.
Yeah, well that and Gangplank hasn't gone back. He almost has 1,600 gold. He can almost get a BF sword for whatever reason, but he does have 2 gold for 10 items going right now with a chain vest and a long sword. So I'm not exactly quite sure what he's going to be building.
Alright, we have the gang game coming. Corki comes flying in. Blitzcrank switches targets, gets the grab onto Lulu, but a perfectly timed frenzy manages to stop him from hitting her. However, Ahri gets picked up. She gets netted by the Amumu ult, then the exhaust. She is dead. Double kill in mid. That we almost missed, talking about how awesome Lee Sin was and how confusing Gangplank's getting killed is. Lee Sin's coming down the river, but I don't think he's going to be able to do much. Mundo is just chilling. He's just going to go in onto Gangplank and does a lot of damage. His ult is up. Gangplank switches onto him, hits him with the ignite, which is going to collapse with the tower. It's going to deprive Mundo of his ult. Right now we have Lee Sin. He got picked up by Amumu and Corki wandering into the river. He gets the last hit and the flash. Now he has red buff, which is always scary. They get passed around, like the clap. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. Those red buffs getting passed around, it's not just the clap, it's a round of applause.
It is a look at it. It just looks like a round of applause.
Okay, this is too goofy even for me. Yeah,
it can never be too goofy.
Alright, looks like Gangplank turned...
Blue team is actually picking off Dragon now, but red team has the war, blue team doesn't, so they definitely had vision on it when it went down before. Do you recall who picked it up the first time?
Blue team got it, so they have the timer, they know it's up, they see the little skull and crossbones on their map. That's not skull and crossbones anymore, huh? It's a weird little goblin head.
It's a dragon thingy.
I don't know what it is, but they've got it, they know it's there.
Zoom in on it.
Meanwhile, red team
just barely have the ward vision. It's almost about to expire.
They know it's up.
Yeah, now they know that the blue team is really pressuring that dragon, so they're gonna try to converge on it.
Gragas body slamming. Battle of Jukes down the river right next to it. He hits the casket, only ends up splitting them up. It doesn't actually net Mundo. Mundo is not afraid. He goes charging in, pops his ult at half health.
Doesn't get ignited yet, so he's
no grasp from Blitz. He gets attacked. Now he's got a healing reduction on him, and Ahri is casting all of her spells. She gets ulted by Lulu right as she blasts away. Gragas is extremely low health. Ahri goes back in, hits the charm on the Corki. Ezreal goes leaping over the wall. He manages to pick him up. They're afraid without a lot of their DPS going down, and Gragas at such low health that they're going to try and retreat. Blue team is going to keep chasing him up the river because the moment some cooldowns... Oh! Lee Sin is a cooldown. He's chasing him from above. He gets grabbed by Blitzcrank immediately after killing Gragas.
Lee Sin really needed to be
Amumu is stuck. He's behind him in the enemy lines. He tries to pick up Lulu. He does, but he goes down for it. That is 1 for 3 favor of the blue team, and all of their DPS is here. That is a dead tower.
So they're going to take the tower as well as the dragon, it seems. I really think that Lee Sin should have went after the Blitzcrank because he had that oracle.
I lied to you. That is not a dead tower. Lee Sin saw top tower being taken by Gangplank, and he is going up to save it.
Oh, so Lee Sin went for the something.
And meanwhile, Mundo was not quite tanky enough to finish off the dragon. His ultimate is back up though, so now he's tanky. Blitzcrank is hovering around. He wants to scare him off.
The dragon completely revealed. Very disappointing.
Quite
and now red team is going to have the free.
We have combat going on top lane right now. Lee Sin and Gangplank juicing it out. Lee Sin's blue buff is not heavy enough. The ignite goes down. No safeguard to block it. Mundo poking his head back into this fight. This is a long-lived dragon with Wolverine-esque healing powers. Mundo's ult is not up, but he is just that fast. Gragas, he jukes the cast, and Corki dies to the Ezreal ult. And Ezreal gets the flash over the lizard wall. Dragon is still alive, and that's another kill. for the blue team.
This is the third longest fight I've ever seen around Dragon. Most teams don't really value Dragon that much, especially to risk like 5 to 7 kills.
And what's absolutely crazy is that we saw red team had such a huge advantage. We'll talk about that later. Ahri is coming in from above. She knows she's got the deep. She bursts down Blitzcrank. He is almost in. She goes charging right into the middle. Gets hit by the silence, but it's not enough to stop the Spirit Dash. Foxfire and Spirit Dash pick up Gragas and Blitzcrank. She goes in, hits her Spirit Orb onto Amumu. She's ulted by Lulu, so now she can be the mightiest tower diving Ahri the world has ever seen. The charm does not hit Amumu. He gets out of there. And once again, we see a sudden gold swing. They were down by 3k, switching to 2k, and all of that just got funneled into Ahri, which is not good news.
Definitely not good news
for red team.
Red team.
And the
Gangplank is still at so much gold right now. He's at 8,400 now.
He's much farther ahead of everybody. He has the double heart of gold, and he has been farming up there. He's still behind Lee Sin in terms of farm, but those gold for 10 items are going to help him out.
And his parlay, for sure. After he kills the creeps, he gets a lot of bonus gold. So he's just sitting there with his Philosopher's Stone and blue buff, just constantly getting it.
Sorry, Mundo a little overextended. He's going to start eating the slows from Gangplank's auto attack. He also has a fade. If he gets any of those cross, it's going to slow him down. He's just eating rocket after rocket from Corki. Another gunshot will slow him down further. Amumu hits the bandage toss and gets kicked by scumbag Lee Sin over the wall. And he's going to take a bunch of damage from the combined forces of the red team. He is now dead. Lulu is zipping over. For what purpose, I cannot say. Gangplank shoots the midget in the back of the face. Gragas comes over with the body slam through the wall, and he hits the explosive cast kill onto Lulu. Lulu was far too brave for that scenario. The only plus side for blue team in that whole exchange is that Ezreal managed to pick up mid-turret while all of that was going down. This game is back and forth.
It is definitely back and forth, and it's back into a 3k gold deficit for the blue team, but again, the longer the game goes on, the less important that 3k gold becomes, just because both teams will continue to climb each of their leads. If blue team can manage to stabilize their losses and prevent the red team from snowballing, that's going to show a sign that the red team is not as strong as either of the teams really thought. So especially stabilizing that snowball, making sure it doesn't roll downhill, is what they want to do next. And a great bait with the ward coming out from Ahri.
She's not quite able to pick off that Oracle, but she is able to extend that ward's life for a tiny bit longer.
She had her ultimate and ignite. I really think that she should have went all in on that.
Well, one of the questions when you're about to do something like that is she's currently the most fed member of her team. She doesn't want to die. Ignite and ultimate kick onto Gragas. He's not quite able to get it. Gangplank getting picked up. He's being converged on by 4 members of the team. Amumu comes zipping in, but he doesn't quite have his ultimate yet. So they're going to tower dive like a boss. Lulu picks up 2 kills because she is that heroic. And Lee Sin gets the kill onto Amumu. Corki managed to pick up Mundo in all of that.
Huge team fight for the blue team, being able to take down 4 for 1 and a tower.
Yeah, picking Blitzcrank off to such low health gave them a huge advantage in that fight, and then he just managed to converge on them when red team got caught out. That's just how it goes. A lot of slows in CC going on to Corki, burns his cleanse, he burns his slash. Ezreal's a hero, diving into 2 Nexus turrets to pick it up. That's going to be a dead inner turret.
Dead inhibitor, and that's going to be a free inhibitor for the blue team. That's going to provide them with enough pressure. Oh,
not necessarily. He almost picks up a double kill, picking up Lulu. I think they're going to keep Ezreal. He's going to he might be sacrificing himself for the good of his team. Not quite picked up by the bandage toss, so he'll actually not quite escape. Blitzcrank gets the grab, gets the pop-up, had to flash over the wall for it.
And a 4 for 0. Now red team's pinging off on the Baron. Are they going to have enough time to do it? They just bought. 2 people have Sunfire Capes. That's going to be a lot of tankiness. Baron is definitely not going to be able to do any damage to anybody on the red team with those 2 members of the team tanking.
Currently, blue team doesn't have any actual vision. Mundo has no idea when he should go in, if he should go in. He doesn't have much choice in the matter. Blitzcrank hits him with the grab. He pops his ultimate. He wants to get in there and smite it, but he's not able to. It was nowhere near low enough for a spike steal.
I think it was just trying to make it so they were taking more damage from the Baron to try to get away from it, but still.
A sort of desperation play. We have the Ezreal coming up. Is it going to be able to steal it?
Oh, so close!
It does. It nearly picks him up a kill or two, but not.
Luckily, luckily 4 members of the red team was right in front of Baron. So
Yeah,
again,
that'll block the damage.
Ezreal's ultimate does less damage the more targets it hits. So since Baron was the last target it hit out of 5, it just wasn't quite able to pick it up. But I think if they weren't there, it would have been it would have been really close. I think he might have been able to steal it. But great job by the red team, being able to notice that, like, okay, Ezreal's respawned, he has his ultimate up, we need to make sure that he doesn't take this, and that's exactly what they did, and they were able to do it very well.
We saw blue team got the pick off that like Ahri is so good at, and the combination of just CC's burst damage from their team was enough to get them the edge, push into that middle lane and get the inhibitor. Unfortunately, they overstayed their welcome too long. They wanted the inhibitor to help give them the momentum that they needed to farm back up and even out the gold deficit, but they stayed just a little bit too long. They lost 4 people and then Baron, which more than pays back the cost of 2 towers and an inhibitor.
Yeah, I mean, the only plus side for the blue team now is that they do have those super minions pouring in, but usually the super minions aren't as beneficial as you think unless Baron's up. So if you can't keep that pressure applied mid so that you can actually go and take out that Baron, there's no real necessary need to have that inhibitor down. I mean, it is going to provide that pressure. They might be able to take it. Blitzcrank actually taking the blue buff, and now Ahri gets ulted by Lulu, losing to speed herself up and pop the Shrillies to try to get away. She's going to go deep, deep, deep within the red team's territory. I don't know if this is going to be a great team fight. A great explosive cast coming out from Gragas, being able to do a lot of damage, being able to separate the teams, and that gameplay going coming out, preventing Ahri and the rest of the blue team from being able to get away. Great save coming out. Corki, Valkyrie's over the wall, able to get the rockets and successfully pick up the kill on the Ahri. Wonderful job. And now Lee Sin is just kind of all by him lonesome right now. Ezreal's really low. I don't think he wants to stay here. And okay, it looks like blue team might be pushing out a little bit. Oh, and now Lulu gets caught out by the blue team. Blue team, great job being able to pick up that kill. And the polymorph going out on the Gragas, turning into the fattest little squirrel. He's able to get out of there with the body slam. He's going to be able to throw out some more harassment. It looks like the blue team is effectively warded off the red team in this particular situation. Wonderful job by the blue team. Pushing with Baron is so effective just because of the health regen it gives you, the AD, the AP, all the benefits of Baron is just so immense. They really want to have a fight within the jungle where it started. But that's just the way the red team wanted it because they didn't want to fight around super minions. Super minions surprisingly have 270 AD, so they're going to provide a lot of DPS, like unknowingly DPS. When you're getting attacked by minions, usually you don't notice that there's actually damage coming from the minions, but they do a significant amount, especially those super minions, regardless if they're buff or not. But just overall, wonderful job by the blue team being able to ward off that Baron. And now it looks like only a couple members of the red team continue to have their Baron, and that's Corki is still one of the most important champions on their team. He has 6 kills, but then Gangplank has 10. With that Baron buff still on Gangplank, that's going to provide a lot of pressure, and he also has that Trinity Force, so he's going to be able to slow everyone down with the Phage as well as Corki will. With those 2 Phages in conjunction with the Shirelias from Blitzcrank, it's going to be incredibly difficult to get away from the red team once they come out of nowhere. If they come out of a bush and surprise, it's going to be really difficult. So I'm interested to see how the blue team is going to be able to deal with that. They do have mobility, they do have slows, but I don't know if it's enough to counteract the damage from the Trinity Force, the absolute burst that comes from it after using those spammable abilities that both those champions have.
Yeah, blue team's definitely building to try and counteract the mobility, red team's building to counteract the mobility of the blue team. We see Gangplank just picked up his Force of Nature, so that's going to add even more survivability and power to what currently looks like red team's strongest champion.
Yeah, definitely. And he really built that to counteract the Deathfire Grass coming out from Ahri, because Ahri was able to absolutely melt the red team. Once that Deathfire Grass came out, it was like, bam, 50% damage. And that is very, very scary. So we don't want that to happen to the red team continually. So building that MR, getting an Aegis might be their next play on one of the champions. It's possible that Gangplank might pick that up, but since he picked up the Force of Nature, I'm sure he's probably going to leave it to Blitzcrank next.
Yeah, right now, Ahri,
Possibly Lulu.
it would definitely be in her best interest, unless she has no other choice, to completely ignore Gangplank. She's very much a squishy melter right now. That DFG and that Abyssal is designed to focus down characters like Corki or Gragas, who currently have 0 MR of their own.
Definitely.
Between the Sorcerer's Shoes, Runes, Masteries, Abyssal, she's probably going to be doing basically true damage with everything she got.
So she has 29 spell pen and then 10%. That's not going to do a whole lot to the magic Gangplank. It's going to bring him to about the 90 range.
Alright, we've got the engage coming in. Lulu goes a little too deep. She gets caught instantly by Amumu. We attacked him against Ezreal, but he dies. Well, no, Ezreal, please, all the way to the back. There's too much chaos right now. Lee Sin manages to dive in onto Corki, and he picks him up. Mundo is still hanging in there. Ahri is fleeing through the jungle. She gets a charm, but she gets grabbed by Blitz while she's trying to pick up Amumu, and she manages to kill Blitzcrank. Gangplank is still tanking it out. He manages to stab her in the back. He gets the kill. He's going to switch focus over to Lee Sin while Amumu tries to help with some degree of CC. Guardian Angel's going to allow cooldown refresh. And Lee Sin drops. What a confusing battle.
That's a great job. It was a 5-for-3 exchange, but 2 members of the red team are extremely low.
I won't lie, I completely lost track. Between all the dashes, the knockarounds, the particle effects, I lost track of who was where. I thought Ezreal died, but he was completely off-screen, ulting. Lee Sin was warping over walls, Ahri dashing in and out of the fight. That was nothing if it was not disorganized.
Yeah, and ever since Ezreal spawned back up, he's super fast with the buff from Lulu, and they really needed backup because they could have easily gotten double killed by that Ezreal. Even though Ezreal doesn't actually have that much damage right now, he has the Mega Chunk hook and a pickaxe for Force, but no actual zeal or anything from ability besides his arcane shield. So it's an interesting choice by him, but you can really tell the difference in gold between the two AD carries. There's about a 1100 difference, and that's massive. But the 14,000 gold from Gangplank, that's going to give him pretty much a full build. He's really close. He has the Executioner's Calling to really help with the reduction of healing coming out from the Mundo or anybody else that really wants to do any form of healing in conjunction with the 2 Ignites that they have on their team. So his last item is that Heart of Gold. I'm interested to see if he's going to turn that into randoms or if he's going to get the fabled Infinity Edge and go Criddle Plank. So that could be interesting to see. It's a toss-up to what they're going to do with it. He might end up just getting like a Yomu's or a Last Whisper. He
appears to be tanky enough. The question is if he's going to be able to pin down members of the opposing team. So he can either opt to blow him up or he can opt to stick to him. Blitzcrank, raise morale, into the grab, doesn't quite connect with anybody. Amumu decides he's just going to face check. He's getting into their back line right next to their important characters, but he's a little too far ahead of the rest of his team. Sorelia's top. He's going to be able to retreat. Blitzcrank goes for a blind grab, doesn't quite pick up anybody. They're poking through the wall. They know they're there, they just can't quite see exactly what's going on. Gragas with a nice barrel manages to clip a lot of Lulu's health. Now they're chasing each other through the jungle. Mundo pops his ult a little premature. A lot of Mundos have that problem. But I don't know.
He ults when he pleases.
He does.
Or he ults when he... Never mind. We're not finishing this anyway.
We are not. And it is on a low cooldown, so it might not be a big deal unless the engage, the actual fight happens within the next couple of
40
seconds.
40 seconds of cooldown on his ult. He wasn't level 16 yet. So he doesn't have the level 3 stage of his ult quite yet, which is relatively interesting because Amumu's level 16.
Alright, we've got the raise morale coming down. Ahri misses her charm, so they're very weak right now. She has to burn her flash to dodge the grab. Gragas is in range for an exploding cast because he's going to use it. He's going to settle for a barrel roll. I don't know if he wants to engage right now with Amumu at 2/3 health. Mundo is poking in. He's being very brave and being the front line. He knows he's going to heal up. His ultimate is going to be back up very shortly. Within the next couple of seconds, they see that Lulu is caught out slightly. She is going to get shot by Gangplank. She has to flash over the wall to avoid getting chained. Mundo is diving in while they're spread out and just jumping right back out. The cast goes down. The Lulu ult goes down. Mundo with the healing reduction on him right as he shoots to fire his ult. We have Lulu up in the front line. Lee Sin dove in, but he ended up getting picked up. Ahri picks up Amumu, and Lulu gets a little too close and just gets chopped into ribbons by the Gangplank. Blitzcrank right now playing the back line. He doesn't want to get clipped by any abilities, but he wants to land his grab. He's trying to be finessey about it. Overdriving, dodges a cleaver, blind hook, doesn't land. Red team.
Ezreal ult would have been incredible there if he would have actually landed. He actually kind of threw it off to the side, so it hit his own tower, which obviously didn't do anything, but he almost went over to the right, so it was way off screen. So he didn't hit anybody on the red team with that, and I think with that extra damage, it's possible that red team might have either backed off a little bit more, or blue team may have had the confidence to go in and been able to burst somebody down a little bit quicker. So I think that was a little bit of a missed skill shot on Ezreal's part. I think they could have done that a little bit better. Although red team being able to force the blue team to blow their flashes, just from the sheer speed and terror of the Gangplank, he's just chasing people down, forcing them to use their flashes. Absolutely nothing the blue team can do about it. They can't get away from him. He's a very scary man.
And the choice of Executioner calling is probably a very wise one. You can't rely on his Ignite or Corki's Ignite, or no, Gragas' Ignite to always be up. We're going to have to hold that thought in favor of this potential engage. Blitzcrank goes flashing over the wall. He's extremely brave. Gets hit by the wind. He's getting CC down before he can even do anything. Mundo picks up Baron Nashor with a spite. Damage going down onto Corki, who finds himself in the middle of the team. Ahri's going to pick up Amumu. Leafs in is chasing down Gangplank up above. And he's going to go onto... No, he picks up Corki, and he's still sticking to Gangplank. Very spread out fight.
Gangplank absolutely melted that Ezreal. It was like two gunshots and it was done.
We barely even had time to notice that Ezreal was getting killed. Blitzcrank tried to be the star of the show, but Lulu had excellent reflexes on hitting the Whimsy, not letting Blitzcrank do any CC as a preliminary engage. Blitz was so low, all he had time to do was release his ultimate to try and silence him, but it wasn't quite enough. Gragas went for the steal over the wall with his explosive cast, which means that he wasn't quite able to join the fight as much as he would have liked. Right now, red team has too many people down to actually defend this. It's not going to stop Blitzcrank, or it's not going to stop Gangplank and Gragas from trying. Lulu playing it a bit too close to the front line. She's going to get chopped up by Gangplank. Meanwhile, Blitzcrank is over on Gragas the whole thing. She ults herself to try to survive. Gangplank is too tanky. He goes wandering in to pick her up. Pop up on the way with very low health. Gangplank really wants to kill that Ahri, but he dies to the combo of Ignite and Mundo power. Leeson's Guardian Angel was burned down, but Ahri's here dashing around, picking up Gragas. Mundo going up. Amumu ulting, wants to get Leeson on his own, but he can't. His mobility is too strong. The pull from Blitzcrank pulling Mundo back in. He dies to an Ezreal ult. Leaf then manages to die to Amumu, and Corki is finally respawned to start doing his work. We know that Ahri's ultimate is down, but if she does manage to land a taunt, that would be a dead Corki. He wisely decides to disengage. They're going to... They know that Corki's the only one up, and that the combo of Ahri and Ezreal is too much, so it looks like they're going to continue the push, going over to clear the top creep wave and maybe move on to the tower.
And the red team sacrificed almost their entire team just to help prevent this last tower, or not last tower, but the top inhibitor tower from going down and then being able to pressure a second inhibitor. But it was definitely worth it, because they were able to take out 3 out of the 4 left Baron buffs, and that was absolutely wonderful. Unfortunately, they weren't able to take out Ahri, but Ahri was able to, or Ahri actually used her Deathfire Grasp onto the Gangplank when he only had about 10% health left.
We have the chase going down, but I don't know if it's going to be worthwhile, because Ahri, thanks to the blue buff and just the inherently low cooldown of the ability, especially with the cooldown reduction from DFG, she has her ultimate backup. She's got a lot of mobility.
And he actually does end up picking up that Randuin's like I originally thought, so he's going to be able to run in there with his crazy attack speed, be able to slow people down with his auto attacks, his parlay, and then pop his Randuin's to do an AoE slow and really just add to that little bit of initiation. And that AoE slow is really going to set up a perfect Gragas win to separate the team, and then Amumu can lock a couple into place, and the silence coming up with Blitzcrank. It's just going to be a crazy combo, especially just because this Gangplank does have 6 items, and now he also has 2 out of 3 of the elixirs.
We have a deep forest invade going down. Blitzcrank and Gangplank are up there on top of the Lee Sin. He's throwing out moves. They look like they don't want to quite engage because neither team has all of their allies present. What we're finding is that the Gangplank is so tanky, so ballsy. He was able to wade into the middle of the entire blue team. One of his problems is they have so many dashes, blinks, slows, that he is getting kited, but he's surviving through all of it and providing a focus point. It's letting Corki survive to deal his damage. We have a bit of an engage going down. Gangplank waiting right into the middle. Lulu still caught out. Leeson right in the middle. Ezreal carrying through the entire team. Gangplank ult isn't hitting anybody. Amumu ultimate goes down and hits a few people, but right now he's too low health. Gragas gets picked up in the middle of the lane, and they're going to start chasing. It's a little dangerous with all of the poke from the purple team, but they're not able to. Ezreal arcane shift, hitting him, hitting the phage proc, slowing him down, letting Leeson get in there. Ezreal gets the finishing blow. It was 2-0 to have everyone alive.
I just want to point out
go in on that inhibitor.
That was a perfect arcane shift with the health picks as well as the glitter land. So she waited for Gangplank to use his oranges, and then
the fight comes. Mundo getting pulled. Blitzcrank getting his pull onto them. They're going to retreat back to the fountain. There's a lot of going back and forth, but they can't quite kill off these tanky characters along with the maneuverability of Corki. The question is, do they care? I guess they care. They're going to back out. I guess they're going to switch to focus now down to the bottom right tower. They're going to pick that up.
I really expected them to take out this blue buff because Ahri's is a little bit more than halfway down, so I expect them to take this while they're here. There's so much map presence, there's no wards coming out from the red team, and they have to protect the top 2 lanes right now. Yeah, so she's definitely going to take that blue buff. But like I was saying before, Lulu waited for Gangplank to eat his oranges before she used glitter lands. Right when she saw that oranges come out, she glitter lands to slow them right back down. So it was almost instantaneous, which was a perfect play from Lulu. And you don't really see that kind of play from supports, or you just find it unnoticed a lot of the time. And that was just absolutely wonderful.
If we can analyze Lulu's play for a moment, she's been pretty back and forth as far as her usefulness. There were a couple fights where she cost them a lot by wandering straight into the middle of the enemy team for no discernible reason. Yeah, I think she pulled out a pretty intelligent play. We're going to have to hold that Leeson right in the middle of Gangplank and Blitzcrank.
Yeah, she was also ulting herself in a couple fights, which I thought was a little bit odd, because typically, I mean, first of all, she was almost initiating some of the fights, and right now, as you can see, she's just very so out of position. She can easily get grabbed. Since there is a ward in that bush, she did see it with her Oracle, but that's just a little bit too risky for my particular taste. She might be trying to bait out a fight, but baiting out a fight when you would die instantly is probably not the best way to go.
She is surprisingly tanky between the Aegis and all the health, but she still isn't rocking as many resists as you would like if you were going to be a baiting initiator.
Yeah, if you were going to... if she was going to get grabbed, she could technically just ult herself, popping everybody up. That's close, but I just don't think that that would be the best option. It's... but we'll see how. I think maybe that's what she was trying to do. Now blue team is just waiting in this Wraith bush, waiting for one little person to come out. They do not have a ward. Red team does not have a ward in this brush.
They are waiting for the Ahri pick to get the taunts onto whoever they can, blow them up, and negate their usefulness for the fight. Amumu is wandering towards them right as they happen to leave. The taunt goes onto him. Lulu is up in the middle of everything. He's getting caught out. The exploding cast, the pop-up. There is too much chaos right now. Corki getting dosed by Ahri and Mundo, who's at low health, but he's getting out. Meanwhile, Ezreal is firing from the back line. Mundo is chasing Blitzcrank down. He hits him with that cleaver that allows him to link into the phase proc from Ezreal. Leeson hits the resonating strike onto Gragas. The cleanse come out from Gragas to try and negate the CC, but he doesn't manage to. They lose 4 people for Lulu. Beating the towers. Scumbag Lulu. Making him stronger.
It's going to respawn with all
and Corki is baited and he's going on to the Leeson. Leeson has his Guardian Angel. He doesn't even need it. And a slightly mistimed charm, but it doesn't matter. Corki dies in the fountain right as the Nexus goes down. Blue team, crazy mobility, constantly negating the usefulness and utility of Purple team's move, of their crowd control. They're just able to get away every time Purple team started doing work on them.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed, but after Ezreal got that last whisper, the game just completely shifted into the blue team's favor. They were able to burst down that Gangplank really easily, and it was just it was great because he was the only one that was a huge, like massive threat. And so once they were able to just kind of keep the CC on him, which again is kind of odd since he was very tanky, but without having any armor or magic resistance left from all of the just armor penetration and the magic resistance debuffs, there was just nothing he could do. And he was getting in there, he was using his oranges very, very early, and he didn't have a Guardian Angel to really just kind of keep him in that fight afterwards. And I think that was his biggest mistake. I think if he exchanged that Randuin's for a Guardian Angel, it might have been a little bit better, or maybe the Executioner's calling for a GA.
We definitely saw that Corki was a much bigger force in the early game. We noted that Ezreal had a Triforce and a pickaxe, and then he went into the Negatron Cloak for some tankiness. So in the mid-game, Ezreal wasn't really demonstrating any kind of a presence. Once he picked up those last two items, his mobility allowed him to put out the kind of damage from his moves that he really needed. We didn't see that coming from Corki because there were too many scary hits coming from Purple Team. Corki had to Valkyrie out, cleanse, flash, what have you, and he was just too low. But Ezreal, with his Bloodthirster, was able to sustain himself, while Corki
a little bit more effectively. Yeah.
He didn't quite have the sustain. The Infinity Edge with the Vamp Scepter is good. Don't get me wrong.
He didn't have the
but it's
last
not a
whisper, though. He didn't have the last whisper, and that's really, really what helps.
He opted for the Guardian Angel for survivability,
Exactly.
but if you're alive and not doing damage, it's just not as helpful.
Yeah, typically you get, the usual Trinity Force, Infinity Edge, Last Whisper, and then you go for a GA or something, but he was getting focused on relatively early on in the team fight, so that kind of forced him into that defensive build before he had a chance to do anything else. And I think that's what the blue team did a really good job at, is just forcing that Corki into a position that he didn't want to be in.
Well, we got to say, good games to both sides. They kept it back and forth quite a lot. A few missteps on either side, but those are what keep the game interesting.
Exactly. But yeah, congratulations to the blue team for the victory, and GG to the red team. And we're going to take a little bit of a break, but we will catch up with you guys in a little bit after we eat some foods.